Hey, hey, hey. Tacoma Comics here. How's everybody doing? It is time for another episode. I think I actually have it listed as episode 9. Bourbon and bullshit. Episode 9. That is the wrong index to look up, isn't it? I have to go look this way. Just wanted to check something here. Got my little classic cocktails books. Sometimes this is a real classic cocktail book because the way it lists this is the martini is on page 52 and the rest is hey, what's up, Weapon X? What's up, Ben? How you guys doing? So is this, oh my god, tell me this goes in alphabetical order. Okay, that's what I wanted to look up because I think I have veered far and wide from the classic Manhattan. First of all, my Manhattans I make usually the Maker's Mark, but I didn't want to have the Maker's Mark today, so instead the bourbon we're drinking is the Elijah Craig small batch made for Doyle's Public House, which is a place in town where I used to go watch football games, football games at 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning when Chelsea's playing. Sees this privately selected barrel from stocks of Elijah Craig. So the guy, hey Mark, the guys who work at Doyle's actually got to go to Elijah Craig and taste different barrels. And hey, what's up, Chaos? Everybody check out Chaos. He started selling comics on IG under a different name. Chaos, type your name in the chat. I can't remember what your name is. Anyway, so our Manhattan, a recipe for a Manhattan, was published in some of the early 1880s bartenders' guides. Oh, Chelsea fan right here, and also support Gillingham down in Division 2. From way back in the day, so we definitely support Chelsea and this family. What do you support, Mark? Let us know. Oh, Bookworm is here. Hello. Z Collects is here. Neat Mo, hello. Wow, we've got a gang here. So, sorry. The origin of the names are unclear. Some say it was created in 1874 at the Manhattan Club, New York, for Lady Randolph Churchill, who held a banquet there to honor the politician Samuel J. Tilden. Today, the accepted recipe for this pre-dinner drink, this is not pre-dinner, needs a sweet vermouth, but there's another version called a dry Manhattan, which was more popular in the 20s and 30s, and also the perfect Manhattan, which is a mixture of dry and sweet vermouth. So I have, think I have sweet vermouth. Should go check. They call for whiskey or some Scotch whiskey blend. I'm using bourbon, obviously, and I don't have Angostura bitters. I have some orange bitters, which do just the same thing. So. Damn, that's good. I am not a Liverpool supporter. No. Definitely a Liverpool support. So you see who you do support, Mark. Guys, hold on a second. I'll be right back. Don't anybody go nowhere. I've been doing the this is what I use for my martinis, and honestly I haven't had a martini in gosh, I don't know how long. What's up, puppy? Don't step on any comics. So this is what I have, the martini and Rossi is your basic average vermouth. I use it just for the Manhattan, so it's what I had along. I think if I was making, hey, don't eat Lego, puppies. I think if I had my druthers, I would probably go with a sweet vermouth, but it's dry is what I have on hand. So Mark is a Bundesliga fan. Borussia Dortmund, FC Schalke. Tell us who you like. Book Hermit, the most European leagues, and like every other country in the world, Europe has gotten COVID act together by not having a bunch of morons refuse to wear masks. So yeah, their league started. I don't know about any other league. The Premier League, I've been following. Nobody in the stadium. Most people on the sidelines are masked up. The players are sitting like 6 feet away from each other in like the first 6 rows of stands. Managers usually don't have masks because they're yelling, but the and linesmen don't, refs don't, but the medical staff and other people are wearing masks. And the players are doing much less hugging and high-fiving and a lot more, elbow bumps. A lot more elbow bumps to say, congratulations, whatever, to each other. So they are finishing out the seat. Bayern Munich, nice. I don't know Cologne. But yeah, Bayern's a great team, obviously one of the top teams in Europe and in the world. So yeah, they are playing. It's weird because I get the NBC Sports app, and you can choose to watch a game with natural sound, which is you basically hear nothing but the ball being kicked and the manager yelling. And it's kind of cool because you can hear the players and the refs more, or you can get enhanced sound. And what they do is they have an algorithm, and it's pretty sophisticated. It follows the game, and is like the ball gets closer to the goal and a shot on goal is taken, the crowd noise rises. And it's pretty crazy because you actually get like, there's nobody in the crowd, but it feels like this crowd noise. And I don't love it, but I have to admit they do a good job at it. So let's see. My drop in soccer here local had enough to play the last couple of weeks. Oh, wow. What I do, and I joined a league. I've been coaching soccer at my school for 10 years now. I joined a local amateur league about 5 years ago. And man, let me tell you, this is like, I wish they made like an over 40 league, to be honest with you. This was an adult league, amateur league, but there's everybody from like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and 40-year-olds. And I'm at the top half of 40 now. There were fucking some people. Like I was in a game where 2 people on my team got a red card for like nothing, like for childish bullshit they could have stopped. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? They didn't like the ref. He made a bad call, or he actually I thought he made an accurate call, but it went against their team. So some guy grabs his ass cheeks and just like gestures, rude, obnoxious gesture towards the ref. And I'm like, you're an adult. This is we paid $40 for this season. We're wearing jerseys. We're playing on a high school field, 8v8. It was crazy. It was crazy. I could not believe that people actually went that far. Port Orchard. I'm thinking Port Townsend. Port Orchard's not too far. Perhaps. I don't think that I'm going out and playing anything right now. I'm trying to stay home as much as possible. Just stopping at supermarkets and comic book shops with my mask on. Mark, you're right. The Americans, Pulisic, obviously, and Claudio Reyna's son, whose name I can't remember, but the young Reyna, he just got signed by a German team, and he is starting and scoring. Americans are coming on strong, but until we get promotion and relegation in this country, we're going to be second fiddle. Plus, MLS is one of the more corrupt organizations. They won't give their payments. So like DeAndre Yedlin, when he went to Tottenham Hotspurs pays a fee to the club that developed the player. And that's the thing that happens all over the world, right? You get a kid from a youth organization, signs a multi-million-dollar contract, a couple $100,000 go to that youth organization. Well, MLS took the money and never gave it to Crossfire, which is the local club in this area, actually, that Federal Way is where Yedlin's from. And Crossfire never saw a cent of that money. US Soccer, USSF, United States Soccer Federation, took that. So that's a lot of politics, and it's definitely bullshit. So it fits Bourbon and bullshit, but I don't want to, I got people watching, but I don't want to go too deep into that. Z-Man, I felt old today. I went for a hike. with some friends. I'm trying to do a hike every Tuesday this summer, so I got like 8 more before school rolls around. However, that's going to look next year. I have. I used to be massive like outdoors person. Recently, my knees have shot out. Just family life, married life, kids life, getting lazy. Not blaming anybody, my own fault. But definitely slowed down. Did a lot of climbing in the climbing gym, but haven't like in terms of hiking outside or hiking to a climb. Even haven't done it. Did just a 2.5 mile hike to Twin Falls, and it's got some some stairs, built into the trails, and just some steep inclines, but it wasn't ridiculously hard, but it kicked my butt. I definitely felt it, but it also felt good doing it. So, keep talking, you'll disappear. Maybe 59. I ain't there yet, Kermit, but I'm closing in on 50. Let's see. It was tough to watch soccer for me this year. Watch Champions League and whichever international cup is going in. Yeah, Champions League is going to be interesting because right now Manchester City got a fine for financial fair play, for not doing financial fair play, and they've appealed it, and that ruling is going to come down this week. Originally, their fine was their punishment was they were going to have to forfeit the Champions League for 2 years, or all UEFA international things, and now they're appealing that. They're in second place, so if the ruling is upheld and they can't go to Champions League this year, then you've got Liverpool, and then third place right now is Chelsea. Yay, Chelsea. Fourth place is Leicester, and fifth place is Manchester United. And so if Manchester City's out, then you've got Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, and Man U. But if Manchester City's in, then that fight for fourth place is really, really huge. Hey, no problem, Z. Appreciate you stopping by. So yeah, it's interesting. And Chelsea's going to the semifinals of the FA Cup, so they're playing like almost 3 times a week. Every team is playing like twice a week at least because they're trying to end the schedule. I mean, the games will end at the end of July, and then the new season starts, so they get like a month off. Some teams have really benefited from the time off. Chelsea seems to have really benefited. Pulisic is on fire right now. Willian is looking healthy and young. And yeah, it's done real good for them. MLS is supposed to be starting up, but 2 teams have dropped out of the tournament they were going to have. And I think that the rest of them might be having second thoughts. I would not be surprised to see that MLS just cancels the season. It looked like they were coming back, but like the rest of the country, they realized way in over their heads. Right? Comic books. We're here to talk about some comic books. Let me drop an invite in the chat. I think StreamYard now lets up to 10 people come in, or 9 people. So anybody who wants to join me and share some thoughts or some comics is definitely welcome. I don't discriminate. Anybody wants to come on. Finally been going hunting recently, and half price. I sold books to half price for the first time in a long time. That felt good. I just was able to bring in like basically about a short box and a half of junk, but gave me $40-something for it. Nice. New Mutants 87 first cable. So yeah, I was happy to get rid of that box. Or those comics and get a little cash, which, I spent, but I thought I did pretty good. And then I hit a couple other local places. So at half price the other day, and I'm out of bags and boards, by the way. That's why this one's sitting here. X-Man #1. This is the first appearance of X-Man. Not a big character, $3 book that I got for $1, but, that's all it is. This is a bit older, but I wanted to point this out. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this before. All right, so this is one of these. Oh my gosh, how you doing, my friend?
Hello.
You are on. I have not seen a hide nor hair from you in a long while. How's it going?
It's been better.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got jumped the other day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Shit. How'd
Yeah.
that happen?
Long story.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but I'm okay.
Glad you're okay. That's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
good. Seriously, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
They didn't get your comics, did they?
No, I don't. I want to be honest. I have no comics left.
You got them all gone?
They're all gone. Yeah.
Was it worth it? Was it the right thing to do? Any regrets or
No,
no?
no. I mean, I got a lot of trades and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I'll start over again. I'm always a hunter, you know.
Yeah. It's hard not to be. I have that to me too, and I was going around, and that's kind of what I was showing today. But maybe you've seen this. I've never seen this before, but there is a newsstand and a direct barcode on the back of this.
Okay. So is that like an independent book?
It's Top Cow, which is an image. It's a thicker one, so it's like a square bound trade. It's a special Tomb Raider and Darkness and Witchblade all together in a book. But I just never came across that before. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I've seen that before. That's to get around doing multiple printings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, but I guess it's cool. Yeah. So I was at Destiny City, which is an LCS the other actually today. I stopped on the way to pick up dinner because the place I went to get dinner was really close to them, and the guy, he's a retired professional wrestler who took over, bought a comic shop basically, and he's still going through like long boxes and stuff, and still doesn't have everything like or know everything he has. So I was able to pick this up for $4. Last I sold these, they were going for 30. Now they're listed at like 40 or 50. This is first appearance of Sabine from Kanan the Last Padawan, number 6. There's some controversy because people say they appear in issue 1, but in issue 1 they are in one, all of them, Sabine and Ezra and the rest of them are all in one panel, and only 2 of them like speak. But then in this one, they're the subject of the entire issue. The first, Gary Williams, for $20, which is going for quite a bit more now. Think about that. And you probably know these. I'm sure other people in the chat know these, but the Wizards.
Oh yeah.
I love these, but I love specifically like finding them still in the bags with actually the Wizard bags on them. And of course, the most meaningless COA, because when you read the COA, like at first you're like, oh, it means it's signed. They go, no, this was available only through a special offer in Wizard the Comics magazine number 87. Each copy is part of a limited edition. Well, we know it's a limited because it says Wizard right here. Like, this is how you get the Wizard comics, is by getting the Wizard comics. So I went a little crazy on those, and I got a few, and
Nice.
so bad. The artwork is so very, very 90s. Right?
That's cool though. The Hulk one's cool.
I like the Hulk one. There was, I put it on IG yesterday. There was a Spider Girl one that was like the worst artwork I've ever seen, and I just refused to buy it.
Was that Joe Quesada? Hey.
Yeah, and Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada. Yep.
Yeah.
Mars Attacks. Unfortunately, this one did not have the COA.
That's a great cover, though.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Looks kind of like a Richard Corbin, but it's not. It's not but it looks like it. But
yeah, a little bit.
Very cool.
Throwback. This one caught my eye too, because it says across the top, Alex Ross's first Marvel story.
Never heard of it. Never heard of Open Space.
Me neither. And apparently, if you inside, there is a little editorial by Kurt Busiek, who worked with Alex Ross on Astro City and Marvels and stuff. And he basically said that this was commissioned because Kurt Busiek was doing Open Space, which was a run of Marvel stuff in the 90s, taking sci-fi stories and getting people to write them and draw them. And he was looking for painted covers. He went and found Alex Ross through, like, he'd done a Terminator something, and he was working in advertising at the time. He actually got Alex Ross to paint the interiors for this story, but it never got printed. So
Yeah, Alex Ross was doing Terminator Burning Earth with Now Comics at the time.
I mean, it's some really classic early Alex Ross. It's great interiors. But yeah, apparently opens. This was supposed to be like issue 6 or something, but it got canceled. So it's supposed to be issue 5, but the series got canceled with issue 4. So then I guess they got Wizard to print it. So this is not the first printing of Alex Ross art for Marvel, but this is the first art Alex Ross did for Marvel. It just got printed way later. So that's kind of little history there. I wish I had DOA on that one, because it would just be complete.
So how much were these a piece?
These were all like, some of these were $5, like the Daredevil, the ones in the bag with the better known characters I picked up for $5, but the like this one was probably like $2.
Okay.
$3. So yeah. I guess this is all gravy because I've been, buying bulk junk at different places, and Half Price Books near me hasn't been buying back books. They just opened about a month ago, but they haven't been buying anything back until 2 or 3 days ago. So I had like a massive stack that I sold back, and that was pretty good. Got this Fantastic Four, which was okay. I think it's Ron Lim.
That is, it might be Jim. Is it Jim Lee? The signature there. Is it Ron Lim?
Ron Lim, 1998. Keblish and somebody else whose signature is too small. Let's see. I don't know who that red.
Yeah, I don't recognize that.
Yeah. And the last one in that round was with Spider-Man, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is a good one to pick up.
Because I know we got, Black Suit here, regular Spidey here, Spider UK. Who's this guy with the 6 legs?
Doppelganger.
Is Doppelganger? Okay, yeah. I didn't know that. Thank you. That saves me having to open it and read it. Because sometimes you just can't. Starting to finish off my Nom. Got a little 47, 48.
Now, are you going to do the magazines as well, or?
No, I think I've got issue 1 of the magazines, but I just I have to stop somewhere, unless I go to a shop and come up to run of them for $1 each or something. They had this. I wish they had 93, but
great cover.
Yeah, 93 is the one where they actually you see his bandages off, you see his face for the first time, and this is the new face here. I guess 93 is like they reveal his identity. Let's check the chat. Chaos in Comics says 90s is the best.
There was a time where people have been like shitting all over the 90s, but listen, the 90s were great. That's what brought everyone to the shops. If you look at the money that was being poured into the shops at the time, it was crazy, man. Crazy. And the 90s gave you, there was a lot of garbage, but it was a lot of good stuff too. Jeff Smith, Bone, Spawn, almost a lot of stuff coming out of Image, while some of it was hit or miss, but there was some good stuff coming out of Image.
I think the stereotypical 90s, the badly drawn Liefeld like muscular characters and ridiculous women with like tiny bikinis and massive hair is what's in a lot of people's mind as the 90s. But I think there's a lot more to it than just that. And I think if you look past the surface of the crap, there is a lot of great stuff, like you're saying.
But you definitely had a they knew something was wrong, and they stepped their game up in the 2000.
Oh yeah, that's when Vertigo started. I mean, that whole time in the 90s, Vertigo was doing Sandman, right? Preacher started in the late 90s, early 2000s, like a lot of that stuff, and then Image kind of took off from what Vertigo was doing, and when they started doing their creator-owned stuff and got rid of like the.
Is Vertigo gone now? It's gone now, right?
Yeah, they tried to bring it back recently, but it didn't work out. And so they just shut it down. But Karen Berger is doing an imprint at Dark Horse, I think. She was the editor on like all those massive Vertigo titles in the 90s. I think she's at Dark Horse doing an imprint and called Berger Books, actually. And I think Invisible Kingdom by G. Will Wilson and Christian Ward is one of them. I don't know the other ones. So Book Hermit here says he's got most of the Book Hermit used to own a comic book shop. He lives near me. Has most of the Vertigo Sandman run. Have you checked your issue 8 to see if you have the editorial error or not error? Just
what is it, Kate? Kate something or other. Yeah, on the first page.
Yeah, there's an editorial that they only printed like 600 of or 595 of. They're supposed to only print 5 of them. Apparently, to get a copyright on something, you needed to have 5 printed, but they printed 595 of them. I just recently picked up the Sandman 8, and I did not get the error, but I did have a Neil Gaiman signature inside, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's a fair trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely check to see if you have that, because that, quadruples the value at least. Those in high grade, those are going for like thousands. It's getting insane. I picked up this one. It's a newer book that I wanted to read, and I just missed it when it came out. But get that for half price. I'm like, all right, I can do that.
Money shot.
It's about the porn industry.
I figured as much from the title.
and the cover. It's supposed to be a really good read. It's from Vault Comics, who are just putting out like incredibly good stuff right now. Resonant, the plot, lots of good stuff coming out. Chaos says it was a great read, and he reads a lot of comics. It's very cool. Got a couple of these for $1 each. So
now there's a couple of those that can get you a couple of dollars, man. There's a couple of them, man. The Hulk 181, for example, I think I sold my copy for $55-$60.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you get rid of most of your books at YouTube auctions, or was that just
YouTube auctions for the bigger major books, and then I had about 5,000 that I sold locally.
Okay.
I still have a short box. I do still have a short box of books that are sentimental and things like that, but I'm mainly focusing on pressing and cleaning books now. So, but I'm a hunter. You can't take that away. So
yeah.
I'll get to it when I get to it. Right now is not a good time to get to it.
No. But it's interesting because at least you know what's sold, right? You know what you have that sells really well and what doesn't sell. So now you know what to look for and prices to look for them. You got like that knowledge of
that's what I kind of wanted to do with my channel moving forward. Was I was like trying to think about it, and I was like, what do I do? Well, what about an experienced collector? Not making the mistakes that we all made when we started out. We all have those multiple long boxes that we can't even sell for 10 cents a piece.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to try and also do apply that whole technique of walking into a flea market with a half-burned candle and walk out with the most expensive thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just constantly.
Yep, constantly flipping and flipping and flipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thunder God says people will pay for these because the originals are just out of reach for most people, and I think that's true. So they've done these are the Marvel Milestone editions. They also do the Marvel Must Have. There's the facsimile versus reprints, and so there's different ways to get those stories, which is kind of cool.
Now some of the must-haves go for money too. The MYX one goes for a bit.
Yeah, I got those right here. Unfortunately, LMNNO.
The top, I would say the top 4. Let's do top 5 of the Marvel milestones that you want to get. One is the Hulk 181, Incredible Hulk. No, we'll say Amazing Fantasy 15 next. The Hulk #1, Blade, because it was one of the last ones that they did. So Tomb of Dracula 10, and then the first Thanos. Those are the ones that you want to get. And you think like, well, what about Fantastic Four #1, or the Iron Man one? Nah, they made lots of copies of those.
I did those, yeah. That's what I figured. Well, I have it somewhere. I thought it was under NYX, but now it's under Marvel. But I've also got Marvel Teen Up and Marvel Universe and Marvel this and Marvel that. So this could be one of those things where I'm looking for something and I don't come across it right away. And then eventually I realize I got a show going on I should probably pay attention to. So somewhere I've got the NYX Marvel must have. That's the only issue I have of.
Love that. Is that Jamie Middleton or who's doing the cover?
Middleton, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great. I mean, all the covers were great. But this is a cool one that I picked up for regular. But yeah, it's a great series. You go back and read it, and it's clear that I think Joe Quesada wrote it. It just
it's a traumatizing book.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely is sad, and there's a little bit of squeamishness because you're basically like looking at teen prostitutes that are being presented to you as sexy, but the story is just so well written. Like it really moves quickly, and it's a well written story. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Wolverine #1. That's a book that still does well. Trying to complete these. Marvel Comics Presents. I got 70, and
I always love the wraparound.
So it's cool because I love the work that Sam Keith does on the Wolverine covers. Right, just really this like short, squat.
Who is he fighting there? Is he fighting, what is it, a Death Head?
I did not read this one yet.
It looks like it might be. I don't know.
Not sure. It's covered up, but yeah, 2 cents worth. But the one that I really like here is 100, because the front cover has Wolverine holding up the 100 with Ghost Rider on top, and there was a long string of these where Ghost Rider was always on the back. So if you look on the back, just quashed him.
You get I forget which issue, but in Marvel Comics Presents, you will actually find a prototype for Savage Dragon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and issue 50 contains the first appearance of Nth Man, and number 10 contains the first appearance of Damage Inc. So there's a couple of little keys within those stories,
Yeah, I just like them because they're great covers and they're great stories. So now that I have 100, I might just try to go 1 to 100. Like I like to get runs, even if they're not, even if they end up being 10-cent books. But
one and dones are always fun. That's what made Marvel Team Ups good and Marvel 2-in-1s. That's what made it good. It was one and dones, except those had 3 stories,
Right, they had 3 stories, and then there were some that weren't, like, from 82 to 90 was all the Weapon X storyline, right? It was like issues or something.
And then there was one, so and that the Wolverine number 1, that always gets overlooked as a key Wolverine book, but it's a key Wolverine book. I don't care what anyone says. But you have those first early Wolverine ones, and then Colossus took over for a while, and then Havoc took over for a while. Yeah. So
to Wolverine eventually, probably because it sold better. Yeah. But yeah, it's all good. See, have you read this at all?
No, I haven't been following anything.
It's supposed to be really good, and it's one that I haven't read. So, and I missed issue 1 and 2. This is a variant for issue 3, but I found it half off cover.
Ben looks so sad.
Yeah, Wolverine is like got streamers or straws in his mouth or something, and then he's fixing flowers, and Ben is just like, What I did though, I did see the.
Yeah. Oh wait. Okay, I got to bring it back here. Did I hear something in the rumor mill that they're now making Wolverine gay?
No.
Or I know that he was in a polygamous relationship going on, right? But I thought I heard that they were going to make him gay, right?
I didn't hear that. I'd love for them to do that just to see how people react. It could make people go crazy, but
People would get upset by it, like the craziest things, man. Who I don't care. Wolverine's still Wolverine. What is?
But I mean, every relationship we've seen him with has been with a female, but it would just be it would be hysterical just because you would have, it's sort of like what's his name, Daryl on Walking Dead, right? The guys who are these loners who are emotionally closed off, and like that's like a stereotype that they use for gay characters. Comic book Steve is like, what the fuck? You never know.
I'm telling you, look it up, man. I came across something, man. What am I drinking? I'm drinking Fresca. I don't drink alcohol, so.
So we got couple. I always thought this cover was horrible, but it's an Adam Hughes Star Wars Legacy. So I've started to pick up a lot more of these Star Wars books. Some of the Dark Horse stuff is really getting its due now, and so much of it is just it's getting its due because some of them are keys. But I figured I'd just try to get a run of Legacy and a run of Knights of the Old Republic, and I found all these, like I said, at half price books, so they're all half off. Kind of dig that cover.
It kind of looks like a Time magazine or something.
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of sticking out there like a Return of the Jedi Luke. Got this one, which is the 0 issue. It's a minor key. I forget why. There's actually it's like a double story. So on the back is Star Wars Rebellion or something. That's something. You got a few more of these. I didn't find the 9 or the 1 that like everybody's flipping out over, or the 35, but that's okay. It'll show up. I found them before and sold them. I will find them again. The news that Titans the Republic closes in.
I do have a Star Wars.
Okay, so Thunder God says they hinted at a threesome with Cyclops and Jean Grey. Don't know if they ran with it though.
Yeah.
There you go.
They do odd stuff, with characters. They're always trying new stuff. That's the thing. It's the evolution of comics.
Right. I mean, if you think they had like just with Wolverine alone, there's easily 5,000 separate stories out there in comics. Right? I love this cover. I know nothing about this issue 28. I just thought that was a really cool cover. One more. Oh no, 3 more nights. What do you got? You got some Star Wars?
I am not a Star Wars fan, I hate to say, but I do have one Star Wars book, which is there's a great NYX.
Oh, nice, yeah. So that's issue 4?
Issue number 1.
Oh, 1, okay.
Where is what I'm looking for? Yeah. From the Alex Ross store, Star Wars Princess Leia number 1. The Alex Ross.
Oh wow, you got that mega signed.
Yeah.
Who's on that? What signatures are on that?
Okay, so we have Terry Moore, Walt Simonson, Eric Larson, Terry Dodson, Adam Hughes, Bill Sienkiewicz, Art Adams, J. Scott Campbell, Greg Pak, Chris Giarrusso, Jimmy Palmiotti, Greg Rucka, Jeremy Bastian, Louise Simonson, Brad Walker, Alex Ross, Joe Staton, David Peterson, Bob McLeod, David Lloyd, Ken Lashley, Addie Granoff, Dustin Gwynn, Chris Claremont, Greg Horn, Mark Brooks, Frank Cho, and Amanda Connor.
Okay, so Terry Dodson or Rachel Dodson did the interiors. What made you choose that book as the book to get everybody's signature on? By the way, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But, like, why did you choose that book?
My friend Silos got it, and he was, he bought this book because of the Alex Ross signature. It came from the shop. And then he was like, well, I'm going to get Terry Dodson to sign it. And Terry Dodson signed right over the face of Vader to kind of piss off, Alex Ross. And so he was like, yo, I'll get that signed for you. And he's like, I was like, get everyone at the Comic-Con to sign it. Anyone. And it was funny too. He was like, because he hit everyone up. There was only one person that wouldn't sign it, and that was Klaus Johnson.
Okay.
He wouldn't sign it. The only reason why Chris Claremont signed it was because our Adam signed it beforehand. Two of them were having a conversation. We were on an off-air hangout, so I got to meet all these artists.
Oh, nice.
Right. And
some artists only want to sign their books. They don't like signing other books. But once you get the ball rolling, I think it makes it acceptable.
And I remember he was like, it was towards the end. We were on there for about, God, he was going through all the tables, and it was about 2 hours work. And then he comes up to her. He was like, "Oh, there's Humberto Ramos. Do you want his signature?" I was like, "No, I don't. He'll fuck up the book. I don't want that."
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
But I'm not a Star Wars fan, but that's a pretty cool book.
Yeah, I know C. Woodard's got his sketchbook that he's got like everybody signing and drawing.
Yeah,
sketches. That's cool. I've seen some people. I might do this sometime. Go through the backing board. I was with David Sinkineer Comics, and he took a backing board and just started going to like every creator at the end of Emerald City in 2019, and got and got lots of people signing it. Comic Book Estate says he's not a Star Wars fan, but he enjoyed Tales of the Jedi and Dark Lords of the Sith. I have neither of those, but I got some Heir to the Empires because it's a 6-issue series. Eventually, number 1 will come across my way again. That's the first appearance of Mara Jade and Thrawn, I think. I think I have it, but it's in really bad condition. So
now, Dark Lords of the Sith, those are thicker books, right? Like those are like almost graphic novel size books.
No, ask Steve.
Right, Steve? I think so. I think they're kind of thicker books. Cool. I don't know.
I got this Clone Wars, which is a minor key, but it is a newsstand, so I was pretty happy to grab that. If you can find that Clone Wars #1 in a newsstand, you got yourself a money book. I just kind of dug this because it's Han Solo with Bosk and Dengar and Forlom, bounty hunters.
Very reminiscent. I think that's almost a kind of an homage to number 42 as well.
Is it really?
It kind of does look like the homage or from the original run.
I don't think I have 42, and I would have to push all his books on the floor to get it. So I'm not going to. So then I just started grabbing ones because once you start, sometimes you can't stop. And I just grabbed any cover that looked cool and had a #1 on it. I don't know what Dark Times is. I'm not going to get this Chewie series, but I just started grabbing books. And then unfortunately they had issue 1 and issue 2, but not issue 3.
That was a really popular title when it came out.
Yeah, it was huge, and I got them for what $2 each.
That was during the vampire reign, right? If I'm not mistaken.
The vampire Jubilee was a vampire, and
yeah.
I haven't read it yet, so I don't know much about it. And then just started picking up a bunch of Sandmans at another shop because they were $2 each, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get the Sandman series. That's a fun one to collect.
Yeah, because they're generally affordable, excluding 21 and 22, like the first Prince of Daniel and things like that. Well, you want to find there's a Black Orchid mini, which is really great.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
I didn't know that was good. I got to check it out. So I've got like through 12 and then 30 through, I guess I got about 30 through 55 or something. It's kind of all over the place, but it's a good start. Hey, Pope C, what's going on?
As I live and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are almost done now. I'd never heard of this before, and I showed it off, and Poor Man's Comics was like, Zen!
Yeah, Zen Intergalactic Ninja? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, he's originally started with Eco Comics back. I've never seen that one, the Hollow Foil or whatever it is, but
issue 0, which oftentimes issue 0s come out after issue 1, but it's just super super shiny.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, a few more I grabbed. that just because it was super cheap and I like the cover. I have not finished the show yet. I think I watched like the first episode and just never
Yeah,
like.
the show had some hype on it when it came out.
Yeah, it's the first appearance of Darkness, Michael Turner, Witchblade.
Is it? That must be a variant, though, is it?
Is it? Let's see, number 10.
I feel like I for some reason that cover doesn't really look.
I don't know.
Yeah. The barcodes on the back, or
no, it's one of those ones where they just have to do their own thing with the barcode. So, Christina Z, David Wall, Michael Turner is on pages 1 to 6. Mark Silvestri is 7 to 10. Inks, colors, letters, editor, associate editor. My lord. Creators. Witchblade 10, cover art by Michael Turner. It does not seem to indicate that it's a first printing. It doesn't seem to indicate that it's a B cover or anything. So maybe not.
Pope says he got Iron Man number 54, 9.4 recent pickup. Yeah, first Moondragon.
I actually, first of all, I love that character. I'm really pissed that they made the ancient one look so much like Moondragon, because it's going to be hard to introduce Moondragon looking like she is, and now the ancient one is the blonde, the bald female in the Marvel universe. But I also think that she's going to appear, and I think that's a good book to get.
I think any relatives, and an easy way to do that too is go to Marvel Wiki, and you can find all the relatives of Thanos and work your way down, and you'll find that like Moondragon is like the aunt or something of someone related to Euros or something or other. I forget how it goes, but anyway, Sundragon. Check out Sundragon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the niece of Moondragon.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's really cool. I want to say it's in Solo Avengers 21, maybe something like that. It's $1, $2 book, but it's a good book to get.
Let's see.
I really don't think that they'll have Star Fox though. You never know. You really never know. If someone told me a couple of years ago, yeah, we're gonna put a fucking Groot in a movie, I would be like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Rocket Raccoon, shut up. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
No,
so Star Fox is a great character. He's a piece of shit, but he's a great character.
You know what I put? I put my Solo Avengers under H for Hawkeye. That's why I can't find it.
It has it's an odd cover. It has a big face of Moondragon on it.
Well, would you look at that? 18, missing 19, 20. That's the last one I have is 20.
Yeah.
So I'm missing it. That's okay. This is actually, I like collecting these. These are cool.
Yeah, because again, they're totally affordable and good reads.
And what it stopped being about Hawkeye at some point, right? Because I know the first 20 at least that I have are all Hawkeye. I mean, actually, the title is like Solo Avengers Hawkeye. So I don't know if they switched it up after that or.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. At what point they changed it over, but.
All right. Grab Spawn. I like getting the later Spawns at 79 in a newsstand.
They can be tough to find. The newsstand ones, and later issues.
I think. Oh shit, where'd it go? Well, somewhere around here. I'm trying to collect like later issue newsstands. So I have no idea about this comic, but it's from 2006 or something, and it's a newsstand.
Betsy Ross.
Yeah, I got these Marvel Universes from late 2000s newsstands.
Oh.
One of my favorites from 2010 is this Deadpool 1000. So it looks like a regular barcode, but it says newsstand right there. Which is very cool. So I'm actually getting excited about these. And then I've got this Spider-Man Aranya, The Hunter Revealed, which is also a newsstand.
Okay.
And also from like 2004, 2006 or something. So I'm kind of getting into that as a little side like collection, and just grabbing any late newsstands that I can find.
Yeah, those amazing fantasies too. If you can pick those up.
Yeah, I've got them, but they're all direct editions, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've got this one, which I thought was pretty cool. The first appearance of Vampire by Night.
Mm-hmm. Is that a newsstand or?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
No, sorry, direct edition.
I found I'd already sold it, but I found a couple months ago, Action Comics or New 52 Superman #1 newsstand, which is really pretty cool. I had no idea that they did it that late. But yeah, apparently there's a bunch of the New 52 runs that they sold at like Borders bookstores or something. So those all went to newsstands, which is pretty cool.
I've got a couple of books here too. I am selling these ones, but I'm going to send them off first, get graded. This is the TMMT. This is the one Laird Eastman had sent Laird a cease and desist, and Laird told him to suck it, and he continued to publish them. And he published the last few issues. But yeah, these go for quite a bit because the print run on them was really low. Yeah, I don't have much left anymore. Just a couple of stuff that I'm selling still. Like Curse Pirate Girl was always one of my favorite books.
Okay.
This is my favorite book. I pick this up every time I see it.
That Will Sportasio.
Yeah, this is
freaking gorgeous. And the one, what is that? 291.
290.
290. So there's one like 2 issues earlier or later that's Forge and Storm. That's also gorgeous. Yeah, that's a great cover.
I just sold this on eBay. Wonder Woman 204. First Nubia.
Oh wow, nice.
And then I got a full run of Sabrina, which is cool. I always like this book. I think it's undervalued. House of Mystery Annual #1, the Halloween edition. This is first appearance iZombie.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think that's a pretty cool book. And then what else I got here? Too Much Coffee, man.
So Pope C, man, you bring up a really good point. I'm going to share a screen here in a second, but that Storm is gorgeous if it's the one I'm thinking of. But Key Collector has started to put some Stephanie Hahn stuff, just like in the stratosphere, and I don't know if it's because her stuff is blowing up or on eBay, or if they're just making it blow up on eBay, but it's getting really crazy. And unfortunately I can't show on my computer because they don't have the categories. Maybe we can log in.
First time I heard Stephanie Hahn was from John Price. I forget what is that, All About Comics John. And he had her on, interviewed her a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool when she was just kind of getting started.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
What are the details on the 11204? What was the grade? I'd say it's probably about a 6. It presents really well, but there is a little 1/8 tear on the bottom and less than a 1/4 inch dog tear or dog ear on the side. So I would say best case scenario, you get a 6.
Here you go. Search artist. So let's see. Can I share the screen and show people? JP had all the great artists.
JP had a lot of good artists, but All About Comics.
Are you guys seeing the screen now?
We had the best artists. We we had a lot of people come through. It was really fun.
Yeah, I saw him the other day. Like he jumped on. Apparently, he's doing more magic card collecting now.
Yeah,
he kind of fell off. He found himself a girlfriend and got busy, I think, which I can understand.
eBay has been driving me crazy, man. I've been dealing with him the last 3-4 days. I'm this close to just like pulling everything and not dealing with it anymore. It's not worth it.
eBay can be really annoying. You guys seeing my screen? Is that what's on?
Yep.
Okay, so I've got this Galathea hardcover. Firestar is her first published work. I got this one, this Black Widow 2 from Dressier. He would give me a really great deal on it. These Journey Mysteries, these first two are just, they're never going to go anywhere. They're supposed to be like huge things. But this one right here, this 150, this is going to be low. I don't have that one. Young Avengers 2 is going for like $150, which I don't know why they have listed at 40. But this is the Storm that I bought.
I like this site for this info that he provides. I like that. I like that the book, he'll have the book alongside with it, but the pricing is loco. I don't know what's. I don't know. Yeah, it's all over the place.
It's aggregated from eBay sales and averaged out, but I don't know how accurate it is. Right. So this Storm 3 variant, it's a $2 comic. I mean, it's a beautiful comic, and I think maybe it should be worth more, but it's basic. As regards, and this book was up to 15 at one point. It's come down a bit now.
The A-Force is nice.
Yeah, I love that Singularity. It's gorgeous. This Ultimates 2, I paid just about that for this. This one is nice. Now, this is where it gets funny. Like these Buffies, I find for $2 each.
And the Miss Marvel as well. I remember that being a popular pickup for that week.
You don't get it without in a Virgin one, and so without the writing on it. And actually, I'm staring at it right now. It's right behind the computer screen on my wall. It's like a $50 book without it. But then if you look here, this Buffy is not a Stephanie Hans book. So they just, I don't know where they got it, but if you look down here, you won't find. You find the art. Stephanie Hans has an SH for her signature. That's not an SH. So definitely not Stephanie Hans. Poor Man's Comics was showing me this the other day. He was like posting some stuff and sent me pictures on IG. This one used to be like a $50, $60 book, and now it's dropped down a lot. And this one's still sort of holding. The guys are holding. But yeah, they got some of this information correct and some absolutely incorrect. I could not sell this Mercy 1 variant. I tried like 3 times on Discovery Base show to sell for $10 or $15, and nobody bought. So yeah, it's a cool app, but you really have to take it with a grain of salt.
Big time. I think that there's a little too much emphasis put on that site amongst some people, which works out fine for me, as a hunter.
That people want, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I mean, I was looking, and it was only a week ago, where they put the hip hop variant category on, and they looked at the Miles Morales book. This was the same time the PlayStation 5 game dropped, and everything Miles skyrocketed. So then they put the hip hop variants on, and they listed the Miles book at 200, which seemed high. I mean, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous book, and he's a character that's just like taking off. It still seemed high, and that was on a Thursday. By last weekend, by Sunday, they'd upgraded it to $250, which was insane. But I guess people are asking that. I don't know if people are paying that. But
I've always had a problem with flash in the pan characters, and people can say it's not a flash in the pan character, but if it does fall into the category for me of like Harlequin and Deadpool. It's just it's kitschy. It's kitschy shit. I don't care about that. That's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not.
I don't know.
I read when I was reading, what was it? Ultimate Comics, Cloak and Dagger, Spider Island, and things like that. Around that time, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Miles has legs for sure. Miles and Kamala and perhaps Muri. I don't think Sam Alexander's Nova has any legs anymore. I just think those are three characters that they're doing a lot with and doing it right. And Solomon Ahmed is writing the hell out of the new Miss Marvel book, Magnificent Miss Marvel. He's a great writer. I think that Eve Ewing was doing a great job on Ironheart, and they stopped that. And Miles, after Into the Spider-Verse, I don't think Miles is dropping off anytime soon. I think he's going to stick around for sure.
But I can assure you, if you're going to spend $250 on that book, there's a lot of books I can recommend that you can spend your money on that would garner your investment. Would if you like the character, absolutely get the book. Go for it.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
But
I picked it up because I went through a short box of hip hop variants that a guy had at a shop. He hadn't seen Key Collector app. I got it for $4. So whether it's a $200, $250, or it's going to drop down to $100 book, I'm happy with my investment. And that's one I'm going to keep anyway, just because I love the cover. I'm a big fan of Nas. So just having them both be from Brooklyn and both, the cover homaging Nas's Illmatic is just awesome. Yeah. So Book Hermit says he likes some oddball characters like Madcap, Fool Killer, Inferior 5.
Madcap is awesome.
Madcap is really cool.
Yeah.
That like yellow and purple guy, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, no, I have that. That's awesome.
Yeah, Madcap is super dope. He falls into the character like if you like the oddball characters, and it's an affordable Silver Age book to get, is the first appearance of Jester. Yeah, I mean, Jester, he's just, I don't know.
You like Jester? So I think a lot of those Marvel characters still have potential. Like you said, nobody expected Rocket and Groot to be anything, but if you look at like the DC characters, right? Nobody's talking about Star Hunters.
No.
Right? And I've got Ragman #1. Nobody's going to be talking about Ragman either. There's just some DC characters that like they put out a slew of books in this early 70s. Jack of Hearts is one, Pope C, who might have legs, just because there's such a body of work, right? I mean, had his own series for quite a while. So Pope C wants to know if you're selling off anything right now, any Miles or Thor.
What would you be selling off right now? Miles, Thor? Are you asking me like what I would be dumping? And if that's the case, I'd be dumping the Miles. Get rid of it. I'm telling you, this is flash in the pan stuff. Flash in the pan. They're gonna do the same thing that they did with Harlequin and Deadpool. They're gonna drown out the market, and it's just people will get tired of it, and you're gonna find that the book will probably maintain its value of $250, $300, but the growth of it will stop. It'll just stop. Whereas your other $250 investment, if you had to put that in, say, a Silver Age book, that will continue to grow. So that's where you put your money to, because, it just will. Angel and the Ape. I've got an oddball character for you. And I bet you guys don't know.
Let's mean Angel and the Beast. I don't know Angel and the Ape at all.
Well, here's first appearance of Dreadstar.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So Dreadstar #1 is just the first epic book. It's not the first appearance of Dreadstar.
Yeah, no, it's just issue 1, Dreadstar. But this is the first appearance of Dreadstar.
But issue 1 is the first book in the epic comic line for Marvel.
Yes. But this is Epic Mag.
Very cool.
Sure. And it's signed by
Jim Starlin.
Yeah, by Starlin.
And he's got a Kickstarter where he's planning to finish the write a new Dreadstar story or finish the Dreadstar story. I'm not exactly sure. I just sold Dreadstar 1 through 5 last Saturday on Discovery Day show, but I got another copy of it because I like that book. I like that guy. I like the way Dreadstar looks, just with the skull for the face.
There you go. Fox and Crow number 95.
Wow. And the significance of that is
first appearance of Stan Lee and his monster.
Oh, wow. There you go. Book Hermit mentioned it right there. Very cool. So I don't know where the ceiling is for NYX, #3. How much of a character can they build X-23, Laura Kinney up to be? It's
see, now that's a character.
You think so?
Yeah. You can keep your Miles. Give me an give me an X-23.
What's the difference in your mind?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I think the difference is for me is that we have a lot of male. Okay, for years, female first appearances very undervalued, completely undervalued, and it wasn't because they were bad superheroes or anything like that. It was just I don't know. I really don't know the reason why they were always undervalued. People just wanted the male superheroes. If I wanted a male hero, I could have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them that are strong and successful and have had great titles and storylines. She's consistently have had good stories, good art. She was represented well in the movies.
Oh, she was great in Logan. Absolutely.
And I think if anything ever happens to Wolverine again, that's the prime time to, really bring her into the foreground again. I just think that, I keep going back to the Miles Morales. I just think I think it's a prank somebody's pulling.
Well, I think I agree with the hip hop variant. Like, I think it's a good $30-$40 book. I don't think it's a $50. But the first appearance of Miles Morales, The Ultimate Fallout, I think that's a book that is going to settle. I mean, I think it's gone too high, right? And I think it's going to come back down a bit. When Into the Spider-Verse 2 comes out, it might go up again. But I think it's going to settle a bit. I think it's overpriced right now. I mean, this is not the time to buy Ultimate Fallout 4.
I was going to say it's like NYX #3 or First Harley. The first appearance of Miles will remain sought after, but then drop like the others. Yeah, exactly. And the first Harley Quinn, same thing. The reason why you're not seeing any continuing mass growth on the value of that book is because they overdid it. They overdid it, and they always do that. They're like, oh, well, people like this. It's like, boom. And we're not talking about a character who's well established like Wolverine. We're just like, okay, we've got like 10 years under our belt or 15 years under the belt. That's nothing in comic years. So, yeah. Peter Parker is out. Miles is taking his place. Never. Never. And the reason why I say never is because Amazing Spider-Man #1 will always exist. So,
but I mean, I think they have two different stories to tell, right? And their stories appeal to two different groups of people. Peter is your classic nerd who got bullied in school and then became powerful and is trying to get Mary J to notice him. Miles is a much different character than Peter. As their spider character, their costumed selves, they have a lot more in common. But I think that Miles' story has things to tell that are not the same as Peter's story. And I don't think Miles' story is with great power comes great responsibility. I think it's something else that hasn't been established yet.
Pope just gave up a telltale right there. He just got bodied. Yeah, that's a telltale that whenever they do that, if I had $1 for every time they did that, I wouldn't need to sell my comic books. Right? Like when they get rid of somebody, it's only to draw that appeal back. It was like, oh, the nostalgia and this and blah blah blah. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Miles Filler Morales. There you go. Filled the moment, filled the void. That's all he is.
I will have to see. I don't know. Starman in the early issues, just a normal guy with no clue what to do with superpowers. That's good. It's always a good story.
We all die. No one will care who identifies with Peter Parker. Kids won't relate to getting picked on anymore. Hashtag nerf the world. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, a lot of the Silver Age comics don't really hold up when you read
them. They were painful. With you look at Claremont's thought bubbles, right, and try to read an issue of the X-Men, like anything between 120 and 200. They can get. They can get painful.
Yeah. Well, he would say everything everybody was thinking. It was like, but.
And at the time, it worked. I mean, I grew up in the 80s loving that because I wanted to know what these characters were thinking. And especially I wanted to know what Kitty Pryde was thinking. I was obsessed with Kitty Pryde and what was going on in her mind, whether she liked, Peter or not. But Peter Rasputin, not Peter Parker. But, I can totally see how that would not work today in a comic. If you try to do that, it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but you know what? I hear more and more often people are getting sick of getting paying $4.99, $5.99, $6.99 for a comic that takes them 2 seconds to read because there is no dialogue. So
that is true. So here's a really good one that I bet you a couple people in the chat are into, and I just read it the other day because I'd been missing issue 2 and I refused to read it. But Once in Future King by Once in Future by Kieran Gillen and Dan Moore and Tamara Bonvillain. This is an awesome story, and the covers are beautiful. The art is gorgeous. It's a succinct story. It's really well written. It moves really quickly. The main characters are really well established. It just does everything right, but it is one that fits in the category of what you're saying. There's a lot of action. There's some dialogue, and there's a few pages where there's a lot, but there's also a lot of pages where there's very little dialogue, and it does move really quickly. This is my favorite cover.
There's a really cool book by Vertigo called Spaceman by Azzarello.
Yeah,
I picked it up. And the language in there, they don't speak English in it, right? So there's yeah, so it's just like some alien language throughout the whole book, but the art tells the story, so it's really cool. I when it comes for writing, for me, I'm a huge Mark Millar fan. Mm-hmm. I buy everything that he does.
He does a really good job of moving a story, right? Even if you don't like the subject of a story, even if you don't find it like the most interesting story. He knows how to move a story along really well.
Juver's Legacy was great. Chrononauts was great. The Ultimates,
Running Ultimates is great. And even his Image stuff. Huck was great. He did a book called MPH, which went nowhere, stopped after like 4 issues, but it was a really good read. It wasn't a really good read. It was written really well. Like he knows how to write.
Did he do Trillium? No,
that's Jeff Lemire.
Yeah,
which I love.
Well, another amazing writer.
Knows
and an interesting artist as well.
Yeah. Did you ever get any of the TKO Studio stuff? It's relatively new. They started maybe 2 years ago. They did a really interesting thing. They commissioned people to write a series, and it's each series is 6 issues, right? And you can only buy it you can buy it from comic book shops or buy it directly from their website. But they put all the first issues up for free, so you can always read
nice packaging.
And then they're oversized, right? So they have 6 issues. You could buy a trade paperback, you could buy it digitally, or you could buy a slipcase cover like I did, and get the 6 issues. And I've gotten 3 of them. They've got about 10 titles out. And this one, Sentient by Jeff Lemire, is just brilliant. Just a brilliant story. It got nominated for an Eisner this year.
You know what was a disappointment? What happened with Black Mask? They were on fire for a moment, and something happened, and they dropped the ball.
I think something happened. They were producing Kim and Kim by Magdalene Visaggio, and she had to stop writing Kim and Kim, which is like her favorite book to write, because she wasn't getting paid right, or something was actually happening with the company, right? And so I think when you say what happened with them, it's not just a general question. I think something shady was going on with the actual company. And Pope C points out 4 Kids Walking the Bank. I mean, yeah, that was a freaking great book.
Yeah, we interviewed
Matt
Tyler Boss.
Tyler Boss, yeah.
Yeah. And he was super cool. I love that story. I thought it was fun. I like fun stuff.
That was one of the best stories. We Can Never Go Home was another great one. I got the T-shirt from their studios. They do an homage to Bad Brains' first cassette with the lightning striking the White House.
Yeah.
And it was just the lightning striking a suburban home, and it's that beautiful yellow color. I love that shirt. So yes,
I keep seeing the MPH. Wasn't that there was another title on that, and they had to change it for some reason, right?
I don't know. MPH, that was a Mark Millar one from Image.
Yeah, that had another title, and they had to change it. I forget what it was first.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really,
but that was around the years Image was putting out Gold, right? They were putting out, like, you had Peter Panzerfaust, Walking Dead was relatively new, Saga. They were just, Image was just killing it. Yeah. They were doing awesome stuff.
And they still are. I mean, they still have some great books. That Once and Future is Image. They did Little Bird last year, which was amazing. They have established themselves as a great place for
Farmhand. Is Farmhand Image?
Farmhand is
Image. Or is it Soundbound? Is that Image? Yes.
Farmhand is Image, and that was what's it called? Q before, which was Rob Guillory's book before with John Layman. They're actually getting together, and they're doing another book called Chu, CHU, that's about Tony Chu's like niece or something, or sister that they never mentioned in the first stories. But yeah, I thought Farmhand had taken a hiatus or something. Apparently, when I switched LCSs, I forgot to put Farmhand on my pull list. So I just bought I still have 8 issues to read, and I missed from 11 through 17 or something. I still have a whole bunch to catch up on. But yeah, that was a good issue. Really, I love the art. It's just great.
All right, I have to go. I am in great deal of pain. I need to take some Norco or something.
Well,
Those who are just joining, I got beat up the weekend. So
dude, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry that happened, and thanks for jumping on. This was a treasure just to see a blast from
yeah, man, it was good talking to you.
this is my show every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock on West Coast time, Bourbon and Bullshit. So
yeah, well, I checked out Sunflower was on.
yeah. Oh, you watched that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunflower and Almost on My Mind.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah,
working, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to you.
All right.
Bye. Take care.
See you, everyone.
All right. Well, that was awesome. That was GPAP, whose name, Jean Paul Ace Peter, is a Kiss reference, obviously, or perhaps not obvious. Let's see who we still got hanging out. Pope C is here. The series where the kid would run from getting shot from the snipers. Is that Power Pack? I don't know, dude. Talisman of Justice Machine, fun, irritating character. I don't know much about Justice Machine, and I know even less about Talisman. No, Pope C. He actually when he jumped on, I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Well, I got mugged the other day," so he actually did get mugged. So I'm glad he's feeling better. Where the kids would run from the snipers. Was that Young Terrorist or We Can Never Go Home? We Can Never Go Home was a little bit like that, but not quite like that. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I've talked to GPAP for a while. I showed off my books. I was showing off Once in Future because that's kind of like my favorite current book. It's a little less involved than Die. Die is still a great book. It takes a lot to get into Die. Like Die is one of those books that has literary references and has survival instinct. I don't know it. I don't know it. Sorry. Hey, you can be lazy, but Kermit, that's okay. It's still early in the West Coast. We're not at and I'm on number 2 now, so you'll watch me get buzzed here. I'm too lazy to go get my bitters, so this is just a dry vermouth and bourbon, Kentucky Straight bourbon whiskey. But yeah, I'm loving Once in the Future. I'm loving Die. You know what I'm reading? I'm loving Far Sector. Anybody reading Far Sector out there? Is N.K. Jemisin, not to be confused with Jameson. I was thinking about whiskey now, who is a sci-fi author, who's like the hottest thing in sci-fi right now. And I read one of her books, I think something, the 100,000 Kingdoms or the 1,000 Kingdoms. Didn't love it, but I liked it, and clearly she knows how to write well. But Far Sector is a great book. It's about a Green Lantern who she is just like billion miles away from Earth, basically, or from the known universe, way out in the what they'd call the Outer Rim in Star Wars, and she's just got to deal with a murder on this planet that hasn't seen a murder in a couple thousand years because everybody takes drugs to dull their emotions, a la Data. And it's just really well written, and it's a great read. So I'm really enjoying that. Trying to see what else there is. I was really a big fan of first issue of Outlawed Champions, where they outlawed kids being superheroes. So it's kind of like Civil War 3, I guess, or it's leading towards that. And that was just really interesting because Kamala Khan ended up in the hospital after fighting with I don't know, some big bad monster, but they made it seem in the book like Miss Marvel had been the one to injure Kamala Khan. So they've got her supposedly it's trying to sponsor a bill against superheroes in the name of people hurt by superheroes, and nobody obviously knows. Survival fetish, I don't know that. Wearing the Cape, I have not read Wearing the Cape either. Is that a Batman DC reference, or what is that? I don't know. So tell me what you guys are reading currently that you're enjoying. And see who else is here. This is the Pope C and Book Hermit show. I'm sure there's some other people. We got to go back a while to find a comment from somebody else, which is is cool. You guys keep the conversation going in the chat. That's awesome. Lone Espinoza is here. Is it Lone or Lon? Lon Espinoza talking about Star Fox comic book estate. Talking about talking about my precious cargo tea. Shout out to my wife, man. I was barbecuing this last week and I got oil splatters all over. And she did like her magic in the wash and boom, clean shirt, just the way it was when I got it at Christmas. Wow, there's Thunder God Comics. Chaos in Comics was here early on. Yeah, man. Ginseng Roots. I don't know ginseng roots at all. I know bitterroot. I don't know ginseng roots. What's it about? Sounds interesting. Got that one, and I got that one. Can't believe, man, I snagged that for $4. I got a couple of copies for like cover, but that was out of one box, and then that was gone, and then I just got this one. This one is gorgeous. I don't see a problem with this at all. This is a 9.8 candidate. Shorty, how you doing? Shortbox Padawan is in the house. Fist to you. It's awesome to see you there. You still owe me $1. I still owe you $5. So I actually still owe you $4 if we wanted to cancel it out. I've been too lazy to jump on a PayPal and pay you, but I haven't forgotten that I owe you, and you got a book for me. I couldn't even remember what book you have for me, but you have a book for me. So I still owe you $4 for that. I hope, Shorty, you are drinking or smoking something, making yourself happy. It's late at night where you are. Girl Power webcomic. Is that about like the Riot Girl movement, like rock movement in the 90s, Book Hermit, or what is that? I don't know that. I don't read webcomics, only because if I was to start to read webcomics, I might never stop reading webcomics. Pope C, you owe me money or you owe Shorty money? I don't think you owe me money. Unless you want to send me some money, I'll find a book for you, but I don't think you owe me anything. Oh, a superpower comic. Okay. Yeah, there's so much good stuff out there. And there's so much good stuff out, webcomic stuff. You can get into your IG account. Do you mean you can't get into your PayPal? Or I don't know. What was I going to do? So this is one of my favorite early on comics. And it'll help if I actually go ahead and rock that out. So ElfQuest is one of the first independent comics to make it big, and they've been going since 1978, and they're amazing. But what I love about it is, click read online. Here's the cover of issue 1 from 1978, and there's page 2. And so the problem is it's not a reader like it's not a reader like a Comixology would be a reader. So you got to scroll up to see it on your computer screen. I don't know if it works better on an iPad or not, but you can go to the library and you can see there's the original ElfQuest 1 through 21, Siege of Blue Mountain, Kings of the Broken Wheel, Wolf Rider Dreamtime, Hidden Years, Search in the Sword, which is a 4-issue thing, Blood of 10 Chiefs, and All But Blood, New Blood, Wave Dancers, which I never got into, the Kavi Two Spear, and the Rogue's Curse, which were short. Rogue's Curse came out in singles 1 through 6. Jink and the Rebels, I just refused to read. And then Future Quest is the one that just came out recently, and or was it? No, Final Quest was the one. I never read Fire Eye. That's cool. And then a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you ever get into ElfQuest, or if you ever were into ElfQuest, you can read so much of it online for free. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know any other comic company that would. I don't know any other comic company that, or comic publishers that put out everything for free that they've produced over the like 30 or 40 years. I mean, the only thing that's not there is the Final Quest, which just came out from Dark Horse last year. Webcomics are my withdrawal drug from buying new comic books. That is a comment worth showing. Book Hermit, if you have Final Fantasy Quarterly #1, which is where they published their first issue before they decided they hated the format and got into publishing on their own, that would be awesome. I would buy that from you in a minute. It's at the back of this pile, but I got a good Venom comic for you, Shorty. Where is it? There it is. This is the issue where Reed Richards says, yes, that is an alien symbiote that is making your suit. And Peter Parker then develops a strange alternative costume. I forget what it's called, but it's got some funky name that he wears like during the time where he's trying to break away from the alien symbiote suit. So that's cool. I'm sorry that Shorty's joining us so late, but it is 11:30 and I'm supposed to go from 10 to 11. So I'm going to sip this down and read some comics. I'm a little tipsy. I'm going to sip this down and read some comments, not comics, comments, but I got nothing left to show people. I mean, I got tons left to show people, but I have nothing like, oh, I forgot those. Those are cool. Yeah, I could show that. I got a few books left to show people that I'd forgotten existed. So I got myself a second copy of this. This is Sandman 10. If you see this cheap, pick it up. This is the first appearance of the bad guy that's going to be in the Sandman TV show. It is issue 10, Doll's House. Welcome to the Doll's House Part 1, which if you read Sandman, the Doll's House is one of the more like gut-wrenching out there issues. I got Static #1 newsstand, but what I really liked is that I picked up Static #2 and Static #3, which I thought was pretty cool. I also got myself Sandman #50, Distant Mirrors, which I always liked. Kind of dug that. And then this one's pretty cool. This is X-Men Annual, what is this? Annual 13 from 1989, year I graduated high school, which is why I probably didn't pick it up. This is the second appearance of Jubilee, and you can usually get this for like $2 or $3, so don't pass that one up. And then I know this is heating up, so I grabbed myself the Secret War, not Secret Wars, but Secret War series. They've got these really cool covers, like it's all black with shiny writing. Issue 2 with Wolverine on the cover is the first appearance. Is the first appearance of Daisy Johnson, who becomes Quake. And then there's another somewhere in here. There's another first appearance or another key, but I don't remember what it was. I just got them because they looked cool and I kind of dug it. Sandman, you only have issue 8. So Pope C, I don't know if you were here when we were talking before. Check your issue 8 to see if it is the secret variant that everybody's after, or if it's just a regular one. I grabbed this Transformers for Discovery Bay because it was cheap and he needs it, and for him, low grade is better than no grade. This went down 50 cents. This was like a $5 comic at half price, and I'm like, nobody's going to buy that. And then the last thing I got, this is weird, but I dug the cover and I don't own any Golden Age. I don't know, it's 1959 Golden Age. I think it's Golden Age. Anyway, I got this just because it's a cool cover and I don't own any Golden Age. I'm like, I'll get one. ElfQuest over the years put out a lot of books, and they licensed their books so that other people would write stories in the ElfQuest universe. So, I mean, they had probably several hundred issues, and I know I've got all of the original run in the black and white warp graphics. I've got all the original run in the Marvel reprints. I've got all of Siege of Blue Mountain, all of Kings of the Broken Wheel. I've got the Kavi, the Rogue, and the Two Spear minis. I do not have all of Blood of Ten Chiefs. I don't have all of any of the others beyond that. But yeah, there wasn't much after 1995. I mean, I think Jinx and the Rebels was around that time. But then, they took a long hiatus and they kicked it back up into gear. At one point, I owned the original warp graphics in the German reprint, and I was 16 back in 1987. I went to where did I go? I went to Switzerland on like a teen tour sort of thing through my camp, and I remember going to like this shop and picking up all the German versions of ElfQuest. I wish I had kept those. I sold those at one point when I moved just because I needed money. Selling comics because I needed money. Nothing's changed. But yeah, those are something I wish I'd kept. They were very, very cool indeed. But that's what you have to do. Not much you can do beyond that. So Pope C S ampersand. Where's the bourbon, man? Right here, we're making a little Manhattan. The first one was Manhattan. This one I got too lazy because I left the bitters in the other room. So this is just dry vermouth. And the bourbon tonight was Elijah Craig. This is a private selected batch, Doyle's, which is the pub most famous for soccer near me. They got to go ahead and choose a private barrel from the selection. I mean, listen, I know that Elijah Craig makes good bourbon. I know that Doyle's enjoys bourbon and sells a lot of bourbon, but you really want to go and tell me that you're going to taste like 10 casks and be like, oh, this is the one that we want? They're all the same. Come on now. They're all the same. Maybe they're not. Maybe this is a private select batch that was really good. Anyway, the story behind that is about 2 months ago, I just walked into Doyle's. I was downtown and I didn't want to go. I wasn't going into shops too much. They were open, but they just literally had, and no stores were allowed to have people in the stores, like in bars or anything at that time. But they had like bottles lining the bar, and they were just selling them to try to make money. So I walked in. I said, literally, what can I buy to help you guys stay in business? They're like, anything you see. So I said, I'll take this. And oh, silly me. Silly me. This at one point held me held the rule for the title for my favorite beer, Newcastle Brown Ale. Still love it. It's still up there. This is kind of before the micro beer revolution came along, but yes, just because I was trying to support a local pub, I bought a ridiculously oversized glass. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Nuki Brown is correct. Nuki Brown is what we call it, but I have it, and it's there. And that's okay. It's a shot glass, Shorty. You win. That is the comment of the night. Imagining filling that with tequila or something and doing that as a shot. Oh, it's great. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Book Hermit's going to sleep and he's leaving, but not really, because Pope C throws a question to grab him at the last minute, and he says, Buck Godot or Zap Gun for hire. I have heard of the latter, but not the former at all. Gray Man knows that Newcastle Brown is known as Nuki Brown, which, is brewed in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is where Newcastle United plays, the team that hosts DeAndre Yedlin, the former Sounders left back, as their pretty much starting left back, which is pretty good. Wow, Pope C loves his The Gun for Hire. Pope C knows a lot of indie comics. I'm going to give that to him right there. If you guys aren't familiar, Pope C really knows his indie stuff, and that's pretty awesome. And he is excited that Book Hermit has Zap Gun for Hire #1, or he only has one. I'm not sure. I don't know Moccasins. Is that an English beer? So, I mean, the old joke, right? The great joke is, how is American beer like making love in a canoe? They're both fucking close to water. That was true 20 years ago when John Cleese first said it. It's not it's not necessarily true anymore, because I think American beer has gone through a revolution with like its microbrews and its indie breweries and stuff. American beer is clearly a lot better than it was 20, 25 years ago. But I used to love that joke. I just thought that was the best joke in the world. If you missed it, how is American beer like making love in a canoe? They're both fucking close to water. Anyway, Grayman says that Moccasins plays his team. Who's your team, Grayman? And are we talking championship, Division 1, Division 2? Are we talking a local division? Tell us where you are. Grayman knows about the triple stout XXX. That sounds yummy. I want some of that. I'm back on the keto, man. I took like a week off so last week we had July 4th, we had July 2nd, was my wife's birthday, and June 28th, which was my anniversary. So we have this week with 3 holidays in like a 5-day period, and it's like so we went off the diet, but I'm back on, except I can't have beer or wine. Any alcohol is supposed to slow your metabolism, but having the bourbon is supposed to be better than having a glass of wine. So I'm having the bourbon. Don't tell anybody about the bitters or the vermouth. It's got too much sugar in it. Okay, now he's escaping. That's good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on my last sip, and I'm getting tired. I was up early this morning hiking. Oh, West Ham. Okay, West Ham United. So West Ham played Moccasins. Is that in the championship? Right, I would have to assume that's the championship, right below the Premier League, unless you're down to Division 1. My family's from Gillingham, so actually my family's from Raynham, but they support Gillingham because there's nowhere else. There's no team from Raynham. My mom grew up in Chatham, but her oh, I see. West Ham played Newcastle. Okay, that's Premier League then. What do you think? What do you think then of DeAndre Yedlin, the American, playing left back for Newcastle, Gray Man? I'm sorry. Huh. Weird things are happening in. Oh, you're in the Premier League, so I didn't know Moccasins. I know. I hope you're joking. Yedlin plays. He's American. He played for Seattle for a couple of years. He then got contract to Tottenham. They loaned him out to Sunderland, and then Newcastle picked him up. So he's been playing left back for Newcastle for about 3 years now. He's kind of one of the top American footballers. Yeah, West Ham, WHU, the Hammers. Good team there. So my dad grew up in Chelsea, London. So I get to root for Chelsea, which is nice. My mom grew up in Chatham, and Chatham Town FC is like a much lower division. But when I went to visit her relatives, most of them live in Raynham, and there's Rochester, Gillingham, Raynham. They're called the something towns. I can't remember. But I went with my I'm going to call him an uncle, but it's more complex than that with family, marriages and whatever. But he's an uncle. He took me to see Gillingham play. Um, oh, gotcha, Popesy. Okay. Uh, I was Chatham in Kent. Yep, that's where my mom grew up. That's where my grandma lived. That's where my aunt and uncle lived. So, the family that I knew on my mom's side was all in Chatham. Um, but yeah, now the family that I know now, um, like related to my mom's family, connected to my mom's family, but a little bit more extended. The Chatham group has kind of died, but the next generation moved over to Raynham and they support Gillingham. So when I went to see a Gillingham game, it was so amazing. I literally drove with my uncle to his parents' house. We parked the car, went in, said hello, had a cup of tea, whatever. Then we went out to walk down to the stadium. And I mean, Gray Man, maybe this is familiar to you. I don't know. We're walking down the high street, what we'd call Main Street in America. They call the high street in the UK. Walking down the high street, the entire freaking town is walking down the high street just to go to like the stadium where Gillingham's playing. And, stopped at a pub first, had a beer, went on to the stadium, had a cup of Bovril. If you don't know Bovril, ladies and gentlemen, when it's cold in England, and in the winter months it's cold in England, you can get a cup of Bovril. Bovril is like a cube of intensified beef and salt flavor. And they put it in a styrofoam cup of boiling water and mix it around, so you basically have salty beef broth. It's fucking heaven when it's goddamn cold out in the halftime of a football game. So I had my cup of Bovril. I went ahead and got, some souvenirs for my kids. My son had a Gillingham doll for a while. I still have my Gillingham shirt. I'm sure the kit is old and outdated. But it was very cool seeing like how in English sports, the towns support the team that's part of the town. It's like thin gravy. It's absolutely like thin gravy. But yeah, it was. Here it's like your minor league teams to support your major league teams. There, it's like there are no minor league teams that are supporting major league team. There's just your team, and if your team is good enough, it moves up to the next league. If your team sucks, it moves down to the lower league, but it's still your team. And it's just such a interesting dichotomy in the way that sports work in England and in other countries versus the way football works in America. And by football, I mean soccer. But yeah, I don't know, Gray Man, where you live or how far you are from Chatham and Kent. But yeah, as a youngster in the 80s, I flew and stayed at my grandma's council house in Chatham often. Once a year, once every other year. I don't want to say often, but I did see her. Still have no idea what my grandfather is. The rumor is he was an American serviceman over during World War II, or there were some other rumors that he was the proprietor of a place where my grandma worked. We don't really know. My mom never knew her dad growing up, but her mom lived in Chatham. Her aunt and uncle who helped raise her lived in Chatham. So the overwhelming early connections I had to England were in Chatham, and then on my dad's side, they were down in Margate, because that's where they'd moved. My dad originally lived in London, but yeah, then his mom moved to Margate, and then further down to Hastings and what's right, St. Leonard's on the Sea. So yeah, getting very English here. My knowledge of England is limited to specific places, and metaphorical is showing up out of nowhere, which is really cool. Herne Bay, that's in Kent, huh? Okay, that is very cool. Metaphorical, how you doing? Yeah, it's just Gray Man. It's sports are teams, they're not clubs. And it's important to understand. Yeah, the adventure park. I have been there too. As I walked there, it's so funny. I remember my dad was like smashing a machine. Dude, I'm doing great metaphorical. In the adventure park didn't work, and then like guy came up, oi, oi, what you doing? And my dad walked away, and then I was left there as like a 13-year-old kid, having shaken a machine because they have all these machines that like you try to put coins in to win money because they're pushing money down and stuff. Yeah, no, that's a great place, man. That's a great place. Hey, Jeff Schultz, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for being here. We're going strong. This is a 2-hour fucking show. This is usually an hour show. I'm glad to have people here. And we started off talking about the bourbon and something else besides comics and soccer, and then we went to comics and back to soccer again. It's pretty awesome. So Grayman, you ever take that elevator that goes through the cliffs down to the beach? I know I remember doing that as a kid. I remember going up and down, up and down, up and down, just because it was fun. It was like one of those glass elevators where you could see, and then it would go down through the cliffs, and you could just see the cliffs as it went down. But yeah, Margate was where my grandma moved at some point after my dad had moved out here. But when I went back to England, that's where that side of the family was. My dad's uncle, who was written off by my grandma, uh, had a couple businesses in Margate. The two piece slots. Yeah, he was not above getting pissed at a game that seemed rigged and smacking it about. But no, it was definitely like the 2p, 5p, 10p games. You just throw them in. But I do remember Margate was a lively seaside town, and it had that elevator that went down to the beach. I just had a blast as a kid going to England, getting sherbets from the corner shop. Get a little licorice dipping stick and getting the flying saucers and stuff. Uh, Jeff just finished off a bullet rye. I should get some of that. I don't have that in my collection. It's so hard to build a bourbon collection because if you start drinking, like the Elijah Craig is down to here now. So do I finish off the Elijah Craig and get something else, or I get something else and then be like, look how many I have? Who am I talking to? Myself, because my wife and kids don't care. You guys see it once a week. Sometimes I have a bourbon, sometimes I don't. Yeah, so after she got much older, she moved down to St. Leonard's on the Sea and stayed in a old person's home there. The flying saucers, yeah, I used to love those because I'm sure if you go to like a candy shop in England now or corner shop in England now, you'll find a Smarties, you'll find a Mars bar, you'll find some things the same. I don't know if you'll find the sherbet dipping sticks. I don't know if you'll find the flying saucers, but this is what my mom remembers. So this is what she taught me, and probably what I'd go looking for now if I bring my kids back to go over there. And my mom loves licorice all sorts. My dad is a Maltesers fan. We call them Whoppers in the States, but they call them Maltesers over there. Yeah, it's great how similar candy is and how different it is. Like, for example, and if you saw Little Britain, you know the joke about I want that one, right? But there is you can get a cone of vanilla ice cream with a Cadbury flake bar in, right? So you're talking about chocolate and vanilla, but the vanilla in England, especially the soft serve, still tastes like vanilla bean. Over here in America, we would call it French vanilla, right? Vanilla is like an artificially flavored vanilla. French vanilla means there's probably actually an actual vanilla bean in there. But in England, you can get a soft serve from the ice cream truck, and it will actually taste like real vanilla. And then the Cadbury Flake bar, it looks just like a basic chocolate bar, right? It's beautiful because of the way it flakes, but the basic chocolate you get in England is different than the chocolate you get in America. So a basic vanilla ice cream cone with a Cadbury flake bar in tastes 100% different and so much better than if you put a chocolate bar and vanilla ice cream here in America. I'm rambling at this point, but we got some great comments here. I have no defense against that. It's a different creature, and you're absolutely right, man. Compared to what you can get on the seaside in England, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Um, we have some beautiful ice cream here, and like specialty ice cream shops now. But you go to your basic run of the mill ice cream, and the way they flavor it. I mean, the vanilla ice cream in England almost looks yellow. Right here, they make a great deal about making it look white. I'm not sure what that was ever about, but let's see what Jeff's tradition is here. All right, so Jeff, my school is on trimesters, uh, so I'd have to do that 3 times a year, but I really haven't. I just started buying a lot of bourbon recently just for fun. But let's see. Great way to find your palate. Your butterscotch drink was lovely, though. Root beer I didn't get. I don't know what butterscotch drink you're referring to. You don't have any butterscotch drinks over here. Uh, and then Pope C says port. I don't know if he's referring to the heavy fortified wine that is a little bit more popular. Buttermilk. That makes more sense. Port is you can get like your Harvey's Bristol Cream, your sherry, your port. They're basically fortified sweet heavy wines. You can find those in America pretty well, but my dad, who is well, he is still alive, but who was I think he was trying to rise above his class. So he came to America and there is no class, but he still had a class thing built into him from England in the 50s and 60s where he grew up. So he would be very much in favor of port and sherry, specifically Harvey's Bristol Cream. And on holidays and when we had people over at Christmas, he would not only serve the Harvey's Bristol Cream, he would wear an ascot. I don't know anybody who wears an ascot except my dad, who wore an ascot. John Cleese wore an ascot in Fawlty Towers. An ascot is like a super fancy tie that was like just something you wore underneath your college shirt that bundled up here. My dad loved it, and my mom and my sister and I tried to tell him it's 1989 in America. Nobody's wearing an ascot. But my dad wore his ascot, and I love him for it. Great guy. Tawny Port is really good, but I think Jeff, those are more like Portuguese and Spanish ports. I think the English really had a little bit thinner ports like Harvey's Bristol Cream, and they'd serve them in these small, like crystallized glasses that with this short stem. It was really kind of weird. America has no class. It might sound bad, but no, I understand what you're saying. Like class, we certainly have class divisions here, and we have income inequality, but you don't have the class distinctions in terms of trying to pretend to be part of a better class through the clothes you wore or the vocabulary you used, right? That doesn't exist in America as much. He did not wear a smoking jacket. He smoked apparently before he was born, up until like the Surgeon General came out with his warning saying, "Hey, that shit you're doing is bad." Like nobody knew it was bad before that. And we just went to we got takeout from a place in Tacoma called Stink that basically serves like cheeses and meats, and like there's a cheese platter and a meat platter and then these fancy sandwiches and different salads. We had that for dinner tonight. So wasn't a cheese ball, which is kind of fun. Now, I want to talk about English cuisine. I have to tell you that English cuisine is something that may not have been existent in the 40s or the 50s or the 60s. My parents both moved here in the 60s. So their concept of what people in England ate is what they tried to make for us. And some of it was pretty horrible and pretty hard. Uh, Having been to England, I haven't been there in a while. I need to go back there. But in the early 2000s for a couple of trips, tell you that pub food in England has elevated. High dining in England is elevated. You can get some of the best meals I've ever had in England. Absolutely amazing food. Still sticking true to like a ploughman's lunch or a steak and kidney pie. Some basic stuff, but it's been elevated be way beyond. I mean, Yorkshire pudding. My mom used to try to make that every year for Christmas and just fail miserably and burn these potatoes cooking in Crisco. And it just, some of the stuff she used to make was reminiscent of the way she grew up in like post World War II or during World War II, post Depression England. And it just wasn't done well. Some of that stuff has been reinvented, I think, in England in the last 20 years and 20, 30 years and is now fabulous. So my dad, Raymond, would never eat any meat that was not well done. So on the rare occasion when I was younger and they could afford steak or London broil, they would put it on the barbecue and they would murder it and fucking slay it till it was this chewy nastiness. And then they would throw like lots of dressing on to make it, or marinade on to make it taste better. Um, it was not good. Uh, Mushy peas are not as nice as like fresh spring peas, but boy, my parents loved peas in the can. So remember, it wasn't just the cuisine. It was that my parents were in America trying to replicate English cuisine from the 50s and 60s on a relatively lower middle class budget. And so that did include a lot of like, here's some liver, eat this. It did include a lot of mushy peas. It did include a lot of like my parents would make curry by getting ground beef and sauteing it up, throwing curry spices in, mixing it with rice, and then because it was too spicy, they would throw raisins or sliced bananas in there because that's what they remembered growing up. I'm not trying to disparage my parents. They were awesome and great, but the food that they made was not quite English. It was an American aping English of the 50s and 60s. Yeah, it left something to be desired. I remember my sister became a vegetarian when we went to England in the 80s, and one of our older relatives offered her some like put some meat on the table. And I remember this phrase specifically is what turned my sister off from meat. The meat that we were served was difficult to eat, and specifically, it was gristly. And I remember one of my great aunts pointing to it with her knife or fork and going, "There's a good bit of gristle right there." And like the fact that she was highlighting some gristle for my sister to eat just flipped a switch, and she said, "No, no, 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 no." Um, Yeah, see, again, my parents would get liver and just cook it like meat and make it well done and take all the nuances of the flavor and the texture out of it, and it was bleh, ah, not good. But I can understand how liver and bacon could be really good. Meatloaf, yeah, I think meatloaf is this peculiarly American thing coming out of the 50s, out of the time when like before supermarkets were prevalent, American cuisine had to find a way for the middle class to save its food and recycle its food and use its food so that you could, not waste your food. And the idea of mixing meat with breadcrumbs and putting it in a pan roughly the size of a bread loaf pan and adding spices and shoving it in the oven and cooking it, then slicing it up. Meatloaf. But now meatloaf can be very tender, use better cuts of meat, and have and it can have delicate spices in and can be served as a delicacy at like a gastropub. Right? Same with a Scotch egg. I remember my mom would present me with these things, and it was a hard boiled egg inside just this like crust of sausage and breadcrumbs. Now you can go to like a good English or Irish pub and you can get a fucking Scotch egg that's like, they'll slice it for you. The breading is delicate. The egg is a soft boiled runny egg, and the spices are great. And there's a little dipping sauce, and there's some microgreens on top. The fucking thing kicks ass when you have it with a couple of beers at watching a soccer game. The Scotch egg has come a long way. Like its name, British cuisine has come a long way. There's still the standard fish and chips, walking down the high street from the fish and chips shop with a battered sausage and battered pickle. And they don't actually use news. My mom is so mad that they don't serve it in newspaper anymore. They serve it in wax paper that has reprinted newspapers on, but is not actually newspaper. Yeah, Pope C, you're right. You can wrap it in bacon, you wrap it any way you want. It's awesome. All right, guys. This was an awesome show, and not because of me, but because GPAP joined me as a guest, because Gray Man and Pope C have been talking about food and comics, and Book Hermit was here talking about comics. Shorty showed up, Z Collector was here, Chaos and Comics was here, Jeff Schultz was here. I thank you all for being a part of Bourbon and Bullshit. I will be back next Tuesday. More comics, more drinks, and more chatter and bullshit about comics. So I just, I hope to see you there, and I appreciate you all being here. It's been great to have you. I will bid you all a good night and catch you next week.